In the early 1900s, alchemist Schwaller de Lubitz presented a work called The Temple of Man. It demonstrated that the architects of the Luxor temple used sacred geometry, which reflected the exact proportions of the human body.
The temple at Luxor is dedicated to the god Netta Amun. Amun is the air and the breath principle. Amun is the air breathed in, and Khnum is the breath of the wind breathed out. In Schwaller's book on the king, he tells us that the king can wear the Netta crown, allowing the Netta's functional divinity to act and work through the king himself. Each of us also can access this king energy, and therefore the Nettas.
Could this temple, built over a period of 5 centuries, have been planned entirely in advance? Could Luxor's very blueprint reveal a sophisticated understanding of the human body?
The physical body is built in stages, and then we come to the Ka, the divine body, the etheric energy field that surrounds each person. It is our place and our nature to explore this tree, this green tree within our being, and develop it into a golden field of energy that surrounds us. Here the king is given vital instructions inscribed onto each leaf of the tree of his energy. The Toltecs called the king a chief, and the chief communicated via the shaman and requested of the ancestors within the 7 caves how to get information and instruction on how the body worked. This is communicating with the 7 nettas, or the 7 chakras. The king now floats on the river of time on a raft built of the rushes and papyrus from both north and south. Horus, the divine within us, instructs the king to use the sickle of truth to cut away the demands of the demon self within each of us. Alex Gray here depicts the divinely awakened one and the king represented within each of us.
The temple is a puzzle, an expression of artistic genius unequaled in all of time, yet originating from the very earliest recorded history.
Schwaller suggests the missing crown of the head, which is not present in the temple, is the scarab found in another country. It is the crown of the self, or the personality of the self, that needs to be removed in order that the king or the pharaoh can place on himself a crown which allows the Netta's energy to come in and to move and flow through. One might liken this to an uplink, a divine perception of the upturned eye. It is said that Ra creates the Nettas as his limbs. This indicates that the Nettas are part of the Ka, or the body of Ra, the double and the vital energy. Ta gave birth to the 9 Nettas. Ta is found as the heart within the body and the tongue within the mouth of each Netta. We are born as fools, a little green behind the ears, and we really need to get to know these green regenerative Nettas. An important question here to consider is, do we look outside or inside for these answers? In alchemy they say, as it is above, so below. As it is out there, so look in here for the answers. Now let us turn our attention back to the god Netta of the wind and of the breath, and that breath that moves within us. How does it move? Here it's shown that it moves up the trachea through the voice box, and the air then turns at the mouth and resonates out with word, language and song, but it also vibrates through and along the throat. These are images from the throat and the passageway at the throat level of the temple, showing the voice as it progresses up to Amun's bark, where it turns and comes out the mouth. There is a huge amount more vibration, the quadrupling of the feet resonance. Rudolf Steiner once mentioned the reference to the voice box looking like a flower over which the sphenoid bone was a butterfly hovering, and when in resonance, the whole brain jelly vibrates amazingly. And I've experienced this in meditation. Here is the throat, an animation of the voice box itself as the flower. Then the air in vibrant resonance moves up, striking the butterfly bone just above the palate, and produces these beautiful air vortices or smoke trains that then resonate the whole brain. Here Khnum is shown moulding the physical body and the etheric body of the king, and because Khnum is the out-breath, is moulded and shaped by the vital energies of Ka and Amun. Remember that Khnum is the out-breath shaping the voice, wind and expression as it vortices spin out of the mouth and into someone's ears. They are shaped into the various vowels, song languages and phonetic intonations into the ear, where the resonance is interpreted through another spiral canal of the inner ear, and where the crystals send a charge through to the brain which generates our consciousness and understanding of what it is that's being communicated to us. The potters therefore are shaping the vortex nature of language and breath. As we saw before with the vortex trains that look very much like the larynx itself, those air vortices may actually be shaping the shape of the actual throat itself. As can be seen here, there are vortices in the bony structures of the nose which shape the resonance of the language. Here again are the vortex shapes that come out of our mouths and spiral inwards towards our lungs. It is with the use of the diaphragm, the tongue and the mouth in that we shape the words and sound as they come out. Here is Dan Winter's alphabet with the 7 spirals of this tetrahedron. And in this following animation, he actually shows us in computer animation how a vortex spiral. We are unique creatures. Insects and birds control the vortices of air in and around their wings, whereas we control the vortices coming out of our mouth to create various forms of language and music and song. The breath of Amun spirals and spins its language all through the body. The air and the water spins and gyrates. Many, if not all, of the body's biological fluids use vortical or vortex energies to flow, transmute, and do changes, animate, and transform. Indeed, the Toltecs were aware that the vortices and the spirals of language, well, it's a fairly foolproof way of demonstrating communication in a visual context.